All right, and I'm live. All right, it's Sunday night, 8 p.m. EST, and we are on the Dixie Belle Paint Company main Facebook page. My name is Cece from Cece Restyled, and I'm coming at you from the heart of Indiana. I'm in Indianapolis, and it's super duper hot here. I'm talking like sweat your booty off hot. So if you are logging on or hopping on, make sure you say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Hopefully it's somewhere nice and cool and air conditioned, because that would be really, really nice. Ideal for a day like this. Hi guys, thanks for hopping on. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. That's really nice of you. Hey everybody. Okay, so as you can see behind me, I've got a piece of furniture that is somewhat painted. You know, the old, it's gonna get, it's gotta get ugly before it gets pretty. Okay, that whole thing. That's the stage we're at. So I've got my piece here, which is actually a really nice 100% pine Pulaski Bombay chest, and it was wood, so I gave it a wipe down with white lightning and then a rinse with some water, and then we're ready to paint. So as you can see, I've started with coat 1, and for this piece, okay, let me tell you real quick about how I decided which colors I was going to use. I get this question a lot, and in fact, my answer is usually something like this. If you're stumped on what colors to paint a piece, usually it kind of comes to me while I'm prepping and priming and repairing if necessary. If it doesn't, however, and I'm still stumped, I like to take a trip to the fabric store. It's like the library for books, but it's for ideas, for painting and color schemes for me. So it's free to go peruse the aisles at your local fabric store, and you'll find tons and tons and tons of different fabrics with color schemes, patterns, themes, all kinds of things, and they all work. I mean, for the most part, that's a matter of opinion, but you're bound to find a fabric that you are drawn to. Oh, I love the colors, I love the patterns in that, and let that get your creative wheels a-turning. You know what I'm saying? So that's one way. Another way is if I know I'm going to be using a specific transfer or stencil or some other kind of embellishment, I can pull from that and decide what colors I want to use. For this piece in particular, I have a couple transfers that I'm going to be using, okay? And when I decided I wanted to use those transfers, I then pulled the colors. As you can see here, some crazy colors. I pulled the colors that I wanted to use from the transfer. So I'm going to show you that real quick. I'm actually using two. I'm going to use this little guy here with the white text, okay, right in the middle. And then this is actually a Hocus Pocus transfer, which I have not used before. These are brand new to me. And so do you see those pretty red flowers? So you're thinking to yourself like, wow, the red doesn't really look like it's going with that crazy orange and teal that she has going on. Let me show you real quick what I'm talking about. You can't take everything at face value. Sometimes you got to look a little bit deeper. And this is no exception. So when I pull this guy out and I take a really close look, you'll find little bits of colors. Okay, so see that pretty kind of rusty orange there? Do you see that little bit of, there's little bits of like dark purple eggplant. There's some little hints of blues here. So what I took from this transfer when I was deciding on colors was, see that flower right there looks like it's got some stormy seas in it. So guess what? I used some stormy seas, okay? That's kind of the base or bottom color in my gradient here. See this flower here? It looks like just a white and pink flower, but if you look really close, you can pull some kind of aqua tones out of it, and that's where I got the Gulf. See this blue color through the center? That is the Gulf from Dixie Belle Paint Company. And so I just pulled little bits of the colors I ended up using out of the transfer. Let's see, right here, see those orange little bits there? That to me looked like terracotta. So you'll see that I used terracotta here. And then I just chose some coordinating colors because of course, you know, we're gonna do the Blendy blend on this chest. So I grabbed some apricot, which is this light peachy color you see there. And then mint julep right here, kind of in that top corner, to kind of, you know, marry it all together. Michelle, I actually get most of them on Marketplace. Believe it or not, I have people send me listings all the time. And Mary, no, I did not use primer because this particular piece already had a finish on it. It had like a matte finish, so it was sealed. If this piece would have been pine, it's made of pine. If it would have been just straight up raw pine, I would have wanted to primer it with Boss to stop the bleed through from the tannins, you know, in the pine. But this piece had a bit of a matte, clear finish of some sort on it. So it's going to take my paint. I knew if I would have sanded off that matte finish, then I would have had to Boss it as well, and then we'd be right back in the situation where we started. So that's why I'm working smarter, not harder. And I gave it a little scuff sand, and then clean scuff sand, and then I'm going straight to paint. So that, my friends, is where I got the inspiration for my color palette here. And Dana, this transfer is called, shoot, what is it called? It is called Baroque. I think that's what it's called, Baroque. Well, that's what it says. I'm guessing that's the name right there. Baroque, seamless. Yeah, well. Oh, good, Mary. I'm glad to hear. Yes, it only takes one time. Once you Dixie Belle one time, and then you never go back. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Like I already gave you my list of colors, but I will show you one more time in case you're just hopping on. Let's see, we've got Stormy Seas, this really pretty kind of, I don't want to say gloomy, but this moody, kind of stormy type color, Stormy Seas. Great color. Oh, thank you so much. I got these earrings. They were a gift from a friend. She surprised me in the mail with them one day, and I've only taken them off once since. I love them. And I'm going to be honest, they kind of remind me of fishing lures. So with the hat, it's kind of like I got a theme going on here, right? All right, so I'm going to have my Stormy Seas open, and I'm going to be blending all these colors together. When I'm blending paint colors, sorry, if I miss any questions, I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, I know, my hat matches my piece, right? I didn't do that on purpose, I promise. If I miss any questions, I'm going to go back later and I'll answer them for you. I apologize. I'm not ignoring anybody. I just want to stick to painting. And, okay, so I got my Stormy Seas. I've got my, let's see, the Gulf. This is one of my favorite colors. I also call it Tiffany Blue, okay? So that's probably copyrighted, and I can't officially call it Tiffany Blue, but that's what it reminds me of, Tiffany Blue. So, here it is, and I'm going to start with those two, and let's go ahead and open Mint Julep. Actually, this is Mint Julep, and I'm going to have my paint colors open and handy so that I can blend. Tonight for my paint, I'm using a few different brushes, to be honest, because most of my brushes are dirty here at the shop, so I am using what I can. Being resourceful, right? I mean, why would I just wash my brushes? Let's just make a game out of it. Yes, the Gulf is amazing, isn't it? So let's see, I've got my synthetic brushes from Dixie Belle. One of them is a flat large, oval medium, so I'll be using those two. And then for Stormy Seas, I've got another oval medium here. Boom, so we're gonna start with those 3 colors. And as you can see, I've got my base coat on this piece. So coat number 1, I'm really looking for coverage. I want to get the coverage on my piece so nothing's transparent on coat number 2. I'm also trying to lay down exactly where I want my colors. Okay, not exactly, roughly where I want my colors to fall in my blend. So tonight we're just going to work on the drawers. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. What I need is a brush to blend with, and tonight I think I'm gonna just use a cheapy chip brush from Dixie Belle. All right, we're just gonna use the cheapy chip brushes. Those. And then what else do we need? We need a mister bottle with water. Okay, you can use a regular spray bottle, but that creates drips. 90% of the time it creates drips. You don't want drips on your paint or in your blend. You want a mist. You want to mist what you're working on, okay? Not drench. So we've got that. I also like to have a couple shop towels handy so that I can keep my blending brush dry. I like to keep the excess paint off my brush that I'm blending with so I don't muddy up my blend. It's going to be especially tricky with these colors. Most of these blend together rather well, with the exception of orange and green and orange and blue. Basically orange and any of these colors, they don't blend particularly well. So it's very easy to get a brownish muddy color when you're blending orange and green or orange and blue because they are opposite on the color wheel. So when you blend them together, you can get brown. So we got to be really careful to not over blend those colors. But the blues and the greens and the Stormy Seas and the blues, like those will blend rather well. It should be, knock on wood, dare I say, easy. So let's see. A Stormy Seas is kind of a bluish grayish. It's almost like a bluish gray, and it's got just a teeny hint of teal to it, but not much. So let's go ahead and start with our Stormy Seas. I'm going to go ahead and start down here. I'm going to work from the bottom up, and when I'm blending, I'm going to work in small-ish sections at a time. So let's see, we're going to go ahead and work on this little area here. Okay, let's work on this little area here. I'm going to mist with water. That way we can keep our paint wet and workable. Okay? Mist. And then I'm going to grab the Gulf and paint our little section with the Gulf. So I'm just painting my second coat. I'm going over where I laid my colors on the first coat, okay? So almost like just kind of like you're dealing with a coloring book or paint by number. You're just putting it exactly where you put it on the first coat. Does that make sense? And don't worry if you get it a little off, that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. All right, give it a little mist. Now I'm going to grab my cheapy chip brush. You can use just about any brush to blend with, okay? If you get the technique and it clicks for you, you can use just about any brush. That's kind of why I'm using the chip brush, to show you that once you get the technique down, really you can, it clicks and you can use any brush to blend with. So where the colors meet, I'm going to go ahead and just give it a little stroke. Give it a couple strokes to get those colors to blend together. Going back and forth, and I'm bringing my brush up a little ways, down a little ways, and that's what's going to get those two colors to blend together. So I'm getting a little bit of my light color into the dark color and vice versa. I like to wipe off my brush so I'm not getting extra paint in my blend, muddying it up. Okay, which is going to be especially important when we move on to the orange and green, so we don't get a brown muddy color right where they meet. Because we're not looking for muddy, okay? We're looking for a pretty, dreamy, cloudy blend. So don't forget your tops and your sides as your draws. We want a nice finished look. All right, so we're just gonna give it a couple more strokes there to blend our colors, and there we go. So that is our first little section with the Gulf to Stormy Seas. Hopefully you can see that. Curbside Bombay coffee table. Well, look at you, you're so lucky. All right, I'm gonna tilt you down a little bit. Can you see a little bit better there? Yes, Nancy, I did paint that. It's a chair that I use for staging. So I painted it gold, and I actually use that to practice painting on fabric, because, you know, the whole painting on fabric craze, everybody's doing it. Well, I'm one of those people, I was just not believing it. I was not believing that you could paint on fabric and it not feel like you painted on fabric. So that was my test subject. And it was velvet. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I did everything everybody says to do, and it feels like I painted the fabric. So I'm not totally sold on that, I'll be honest. But, okay, so as you can see down here in the corner, we've got some terracotta thrown in there, this rusty orange color from Dixie Belle. And so, yes, it's painted velvet and gold. I actually use gold spray paint. So we got our terracotta, and let's see. For terracotta, I'm actually using a Dixie Belle mini angle. So let's go ahead and touch up. Remember I said we're working in small sections at a time for our blending. So we're going to go ahead and get this section of Stormy Seas around it. And I got a little hair in there I got to get out. Actually, it's a long hair, not a little hair. It's my hair. Ooh. No big deal. Got it out. So we'll get our Stormy Seas going around that. Make sure you get the size of your draws. Nobody wants unfinished draws. And then we can grab our terracotta. And this is where I was telling you, you got to be careful, because when you're mixing colors that don't blend well together, you can get brown, and we don't want brown. That's not part of our color scheme. So we got to be real careful when we are blending these two colors. So I've got my terracotta, and you know my motto. My motto is more is more. You know, you can never have too much bling, too much flowers, too much stripes, too much sparkle. You can never have too much. But when it comes to blending, especially colors that don't typically blend well together, at that point, my motto is not more is more, it's less is more. So when you're blending colors that don't blend well, less strokes equals more effective, okay? You don't want to over blend, because then you get that brown muddy color I was telling you about. So got to be real careful. I'm using a different cheapy chip brush. Right where those colors meet, I'm just going to gently blur the line. Okay? Blur the line between the blue and the orange or terracotta. Don't forget your sides. Okay? So where those colors meet, we're just going to gently back and forth to get them to blend together. And once they start blending together to where we like it, we're not going to overthink it. We're just going to call it a day. Okay, so see how they're starting to blend together? I'm going to give it a little bit more, a little mist of water. Then we're just going to blend real gently between them. Super gentle like, and not too much, okay? And then that's it. That's it. That's all it takes. That's all is needed to blend those two colors. See, I'll put you in real close See how in between those colors, if they start to blend too much, we just get a brown muddy color, and that's not what we want, right? I mean, if that's what you want, then by all means go for it. Blend your little heart out, but that's not what we want for this. All right, so I'm gonna scoot you back up a little bit. We are rocking and rolling. We're gonna get draw number 2 blended, and hopefully draw number 3 if we have time. Let's go ahead and pull this one out. And let's go ahead and start with our stormy seas in the corner, and we'll work our way this way with our blend. So stormy seas for the wind up in this little corner. Don't forget your top, don't forget your side, okay? You want nice, clean, professional looking draw. Okay, so we got our stormy seas. I'm gonna go ahead and give that a mist of water. Keep it wet and workable while we paint the Gulf, okay? We're gonna start with over here and work our way over here, right up to where it meets stormy seas. Give it a little mist. Get the sides. All right. There we go. And that's all we need to paint for the moment. Give it another little mist. And grab another chip brush. I can use the same chip brush I used to blend my bottom drawer. Whew, sorry. My mouth gets so dry when I talk this much. All right, so I'm gonna blend the top. Sorry you can't see that little area. All right, so where the colors meet, I'm gonna blur that line just a little bit. Remember what I said before, blurred lines, most places, in most instances, is not good, but when blending, blurred lines is a good thing, right? So right where the colors meet, we're blurring the lines. Boom. Don't forget your sides. They show too. All right, so now that we've got our colors blended together, we're just gonna fine tune that a little bit, get rid of our brush stroke. So gently back and forth to get those colors to blend together. And that's it, okay? That's it. Less is more when it comes to the amount of strokes needed when you're blending, okay? Less is more. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the Gulf. On side number 2 of the Gulf, give it a little mist. Now the reason why I mist the paint with water while I'm blending is because A, you can't blend dried paint, so you gotta keep it wet and workable. So misting it with water extends your paint's open time or working time, for one. For two, when you're working with a paint that dries as fast as Dixie Belle or any chalk paint or chalk mineral paint, extending its open time will also give it a chance to level out. So while it's wet, it has plenty of time to level out those brush strokes, and you get a smoother brush stroke free finish. So we got a little curveball here. In the midst of the Gulf, we've got some apricot. Okay, this is apricot, this peachy color from Dixie Belle, and the view that you have of the front of this piece, you can't really see it so much, but on that side and the top of my piece, I have more of this apricot color. So I just got a little small bit of it on the front, a little cameo, if you will, of the apricot. So we're just gonna put that right on in there. Just a little accent of apricot. And again, the apricot and the golf, not two colors that really necessarily blend very well together. So I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm gonna give it a little mist of water. I'm gonna grab my brush, okay? And then I'm just gonna give it a couple strokes like that to kind of blend the edges into it, into the background. But that's it. I'm gonna stop right there, okay? Because I want my apricot to show, okay? I want it to shine on its own without becoming a part of the background. Okay, so that's draw number 2, and we are done with draw 2. We got one more to go, and then we'll be all done. Okay? One more draw. So for this one, let's go ahead and start with the golf right here in the corner. Okay, a little bit of golf here, a little bit of golf there. And let's give it a mist. And we'll go ahead and grab our mint julep. Back to mint julep now. I'm going to go ahead and get my top. The top draw. And the side a little bit. And then the front. I'm going to bring my mint julep down to where the golf starts. Okay, and these colors blend together pretty famously, so it's not going to take a whole lot of effort to get these colors to blend together well. I'm going to go ahead and grab a new chip brush and blend my side. Then I'll blend the front. Where the colors meet, I'm just going to kind of blur that little line there. And just a little bit of gentle back and forth to blend those colors together. It's not going to take much at all because these colors are close enough in the color family to where they don't need a whole lot of action for to be blended. Just a little bit. There we go. See how easy those colors blend together? Now, when it comes to terracotta and mint julep, blending those two colors together is going to be a little bit trickier because they're so opposite. So we're going to go ahead and start with our, let's see, terracotta. We're going to get that area covered that has terracotta as the main portion of it. Okay, give it a little mist of water. And don't forget your sides and your top. Okay, so we've got our terracotta. All right, all nice and covered up where that lives. And then touch up our little areas of mint julep that come right up to terracotta. Let's bring it right over here. Let's just bring it right down into there. And then we'll go ahead and grab our chip brush, and where those colors meet, we're just going to blur that little line where they meet there. Boom, 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 boom. Kind of just like that, right where they meet. We're just blurring that line. Now, normally when I'm going back and forth to blend colors like I did down here, I just kind of blur the line by going horizontal. This is more, I can't just go back and forth right here. It's a little more compact, this area, right? So just back and forth, gentle little back and forth motions. If I was using a round brush, I could do some like circular motions, you know, like this. But we're using the chip brush. So we're just gonna kind of gently blend those colors where they meet. Little cross hatching is fine too. Wiping off my brush, and then let's just do a few more kind of diagonal strokes to get them to blend together. And like I said, we don't want to get too carried away on that blend because these colors will create brown if they're blended too much. So we're probably just going to clean up a couple of our strokes here and leave it at that, okay? If I blend too much more, it's just gonna turn brown. So we're just gonna leave it as is. And I'll give you a little quick view of the front. See if I need to clean anything up a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit more mint julep right there and a little bit more of the Gulf right here. And let's see, looking back. A little bit of, little touch up needed there of mint julep. But other than that, I'm digging our blend. So now I just got to get the body of the piece. And yeah, I'm thinking that it's going to look really good with the transfers that we chose on there. So far, so good. That is a little rundown how we do the Blendy blend. If anybody has any questions that I missed, I will go back through and make sure that I didn't, if I didn't get to answer any, I will go back and get those. So let's see. I don't see any off the top of, yeah, I don't see any questions right now. Okay, so, all right. Well, I really, I enjoy our Sunday nights. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that you all enjoy what's left of your weekend and have a really amazing week ahead of you. So I will see you, let's see, next Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on the Dixie Belle Paint Company main page. Thanks for hanging out with me, and have a good night. Bye.